Hey guys, and welcome to Tabby Talks, where we chat all things fitness, business, lifestyle, and a little bit of shit. So today I have two guests on with me. One, Taylor. Thank you.
Hello guys.
We're back.
I'm back.
We haven't done a podcast for like 2-3 months, so I bet you guys are missing us. But
yeah.
we're here. We're back in action. And my other guest that I have on today, who known definitely for his physique, but also for definitely his raw honesty, his knowledge when it comes to training and nutrition, but also for building some of the best gyms in the country from the ground up. Someone who I'm obviously very blessed to have a part of my journey, but also very blessed to have on the podcast today. So without further ado, Mike Hulusi, welcome.
Thank you.
Should say as well, IFBB Pro. For you guys
IFBB
listening.
Pro.
I've earned that.
Mike Hulusi.
Yeah.
Whenever Tony introduces an athlete on my stage, he's like, Coach by Mike Hulusi, I'm like,
Say IFBB Pro.
I've earned
worked
that.
hard
Worked
to get
very
that.
hard
Yes.
for that.
It's like my doctorate, do you know what I mean? It's like not Dr. Mike Hulusi, IFBB Pro Dr. Mike Hulusi, I'll take that. Anyway, but thank you. We're honoured to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So before we get a little bit into your journey and obviously why you're here, I want to chat about the recent shows. I thought the standard of the last IFBB shows actually was pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
happy with the outcome for bikini.
Yep.
What were your thoughts on men's? Give me the rundown.
Yeah, I think that across the board, I thought the nationals in particular, like the state shows, we'll just talk about the nationals, I suppose. Nationals was every winner I thought was the winner.
Yeah.
Which like obviously not every show's like that.
Yeah.
No.
Every show you do get an element of, I thought they looked good, or I thought they looked better, or not understanding sort of why a decision went a certain way. But almost every decision I was like, yep, I can see that.
We were the same.
Yeah. There was nothing really controversial for me.
There was
where I
no
like,
calls where I
"Ooh."
was like, oh, that shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
When usually that is the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the season A is obviously amongst recent years has been that slightly smaller season as compared to season C.
Yeah.
We always say no one wants to prep over Christmas
Yeah,
and wants
I
to
know.
stuff their face. But I think since obviously COVID happened and that sort of the Arnold was cancelled, it sort of has been taking a while to catch back up. But I mean, in terms of comparing to previous season A's, great standing across the board. There's always good bodybuilders who show up. When I say bodybuilders, obviously men and women, everyone, we're bodybuilders. But there's always good bodybuilders who show up and do the shows. And like I said, the judging I think was spot on across the board.
Agreed.
Yeah, and I thought overall, first time I've been to the Melbourne Pavilion, the new venue.
Yeah.
I thought it was intimate. Like I didn't mind the sponsor setup as a sponsor of the show. Obviously, Tabby yourself.
Yeah.
But me, someone who has a stand there,
Yeah.
and we try to obviously sell some merch, and we want spectators and athletes to sort of know where we are, and almost be forced to walk past us.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I agree. And kind of once you had walked past, it was kind of like you're gone out of sight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that at the Melbourne show, this is just from a sponsor point of view, having the coffee cart like outside, and then people were constantly walking past us because they were going to get coffee or whatever else. They're having New set up, which obviously New is great, the free coffee. I think they even ran out. That's how popular it was.
Jesus.
But obviously it was tucked in the corner. But all in all, like I said, it was a good venue. It was intimate. Felt really good atmosphere, good energy. So yeah, Tony and the crew did a good job again.
I agree.
What did you think of the stage compared to Kingston Arts, like the actual stage?
I thought it was smaller.
Yeah.
Renee, Andy, they all assured me that it was the same size as the Arnold stage.
Yeah.
Same-
They said the same as the New York
Stage.
Pro, and I was like,
yeah, it
'cause
just
I've never
seems
been-
smaller.
yeah.
I think the lighting and the backdrops they got better at the Nationals.
Yes.
than they did at the Vics. So
Yeah.
I think with a new venue, you're always going to have that element of trial and error, trying things, getting feedback.
Yeah.
And you can't really replicate an event until you have the event.
Very true.
So it's just like they'll take the feedback and they'll keep getting it right.
Yeah.
I thought it was good.
Well,
Yeah.
you've obviously been seen so many shows over the past few years. Do you feel like the sport is actually growing to the extent that it should be?
Try to be as politically correct as possible. I think that only because I'd like to be honest.
Yeah.
I'd like to see more for the athletes. I'd
Yeah.
like to see more consideration. I know what it takes, what I put into a prep. I just feel like even sometimes, like in New South Wales, as an example, and I love Gretchen shows. I feel like making athletes drive 45 minutes out to do their TANs and rego
Agreed.
when it's back in. It's just little things like that make a difference when
Yeah.
you're trying to. And obviously, I coach athletes who compete in the shows, and it really stresses them out. And we
Yeah.
won't say, it shouldn't.
No.
It does.
Yeah.
So like that's just the reality of it. If they're first times, and these people already question everything about the prep.
Yeah.
So I just think I'd like to see some more back to the athletes. Which no doubt they're trying to get, it's not a simple fix, simple answer. So I say that for knowing full well that there's no quick fix for it. It's something they've got to just manage. There's so many things to consider. So I'm not naive to the fact that it's not just we'll just fix that. But I'd like to see to continue making a better experience for the athletes. And with more consideration and thought around their experience and journey. Yeah,
because even there was some issues with the tans on the weekend. I know like bikinis obviously later in the day, there were girls who needed touch-ups that tan had closed. It's like these girls have been prepping for 20 weeks and now we can't get on stage looking the way we want to.
Yeah, I think it is a consistent thing with the girls with the tanning booths closing quite early, like a couple of hours before the bikinis on. And a lot of girls are too light, I will say. And it just ruins the placings.
Yeah, I think that Andy and Protein do a great job. Like I love Andy.
They do.
And they're slammed, so whether they need, to allow more time, maybe they need to, have a higher fee to allow to pay their staff more, to bring some more people on, I'm not sure. Because again, there's more things to consider as well.
Yeah.
I think that definitely, even with some of my athletes, I'm like, I want them darker. And if you ask Andy, she'll always go to her way to do it right.
She's very like
to fix it up. But again, it's like not everyone has the chance to ask.
Yeah.
And not everyone has a coach back there who's looking at them saying,
not
you
everyone
need
knows.
more tan.
Yeah. You don't know till you're up there.
So again, there's no quick fix. But I think that even at the Regos, like tanning just took forever. And again, not everyone shows up on time to their tan, so appointments go out the window as well. So there's lots to consider. But again, more consideration of, I suppose, the athlete's journey, the athlete's experience on the show day and leading up to the show day, peak week.
Yeah, I agree. I think all in all, still a good season A.
Great season.
And I'm excited for B and C coming up. So let's get into the podcast now in actually why we obviously wanted Mike on. I know I've listened to a few podcasts that you're on, and we will obviously start with a bit about how you got into the journey yourself, kind of you growing up as a child and what led you to, starting even just going to the gym. Yep.
So I was fat, and the initial reason for me going to the gym was just to look good. I wanted to be able to go to the beach, not have to wear a t-shirt in the water.
How old were you?
Since I was bashed when I was 16, put into a coma for 2 weeks. I had multiple surgeries. I lost 20% of my blood. So I was stabbed and bashed when I was 16 and maybe missed a year of school. I spent about 8 months recovering.
Wow.
I just got really unhealthy after that. Like I had a lot of PTSD from that experience. It became a very, very much a victim mentality. But I put on a lot of weight. And then I sort of got to like 19, 20, was electrocuted. Again, I received electric shocks. I put in another coma for 3-4 days. Jesus. And at 19, 20, that sort of threw me off again a little bit as well, just in terms of my direction in life.
Yeah.
And sort of, caused some setbacks in terms of, I think, my confidence, self-esteem. And then after, about probably 18 months after that, so when I was 20, 21, I just got sick of being fat. I got sick of pulling my jocks up or pants up over my sort of belly, if that makes sense. Like I was 140 kilos.
Wow.
Without, just like extremely unhealthy. And so I just remember I remember my starting was with no coach. I used to get up and eat muesli in the morning with soy milk. I thought that was healthy. I switched all my coffee and all drinks to green tea because I thought green tea was healthy. I would have a sushi roll at the airport because I worked at the airport in sales. And then I would have Billy Chews, some veggie and meat like stir fry.
Yeah.
And then I would have a meat and salad for dinner. And
There's
I thought
no
this
guidance here.
I thought there was no plan in place. It was just that was, I thought that was, from what I knew. And I used to go to the gym. I used to run on the treadmill until I couldn't move. I'd be sweating so much I had to change my top. And then I would go and do weights after that. So everything was backwards.
Yeah.
I think through that process, it just taught me that consistency.
Yeah.
I did the same thing every single day. And that led to a result where I lost. So I went from 140 down to about 79 kilos.
Oh, wow.
So
in how long?
That was about 6 to 7 months.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Crazy.
When I jumped down, I yo-yoed a little bit from there without a sort of goal in place because I wanted to look better.
Yeah.
I finally thought I looked better, But felt confident in clothes, things like that, which is important for a young person.
Yeah, for sure.
then sort of met my wife T, and again, even with meeting T, and I was still yo-yoed up and down. I went to the gym, but didn't really sort of follow a plan. I was always strong in the gym, but didn't really follow any plan. And I got to a stage where I felt like I needed to have some sort of focus or something to focus on. So anyway, I was strong in the gym, and someone suggested to me, well, why don't you try competing? I thought, well, I always liked the way Arnold looked, and even Ronnie Coleman back in the day, and bigger guys. So I thought I'd try it, and I did a.
How old were you at this time?
I was 25.
Okay.
25, 26, and I did the INBA. So I actually went to Scott Goebel.
I was going to say you were coached by Scott, yeah.
Went to Scott Goebel because Scott Goebel had the best legs that I'd ever seen in my life in person. And remember I messaged him, and he was like, yeah, come down to Brunswick Doldies for a session.
God.
He's like, what do you want to train? I'm like, legs.
Yeah.
Like, okay. And so he put me through a leg session, and I remember just wanting to impress him so bad.
Yeah.
Because
of course.
he had great legs. I know there wasn't a thing that he said to do where I wasn't like, nah, I'll do 5 more. Mm-hmm. And afterwards he was like, damn. He's like, you really I haven't seen many people push that hard.
Yeah.
And so sort of that, Scott, in a way, when I think about it, really gave me, coming from Scott at the time, someone who I looked up to, without him even knowing, really instilled in me a confidence of, well, hang on a second, maybe I have something that not many people do.
Yes.
And I knew at that time that my genetics weren't the best in terms of, well, it's obvious I can build size to some degree, but my shape and proportion wasn't sort of wasn't a Phil Heath.
Yeah.
So I wasn't naive ever about sort of my ability, but it taught me that working hard, being able to more outwork anyone, I suppose. Mm-hmm. If I had that, then I had a chance to sort of to get some results there. So he sort of instilled that in me from the very first session. From that point on, I drove across I used to work in Dandenong, but I drove to Brunswick 5 days a week to PT with Scott because I wanted to be around the energy.
Yeah.
I put on 20 kilos and then prepped and lost 20 kilos.
Jesus.
Which is I did IMBA. I remember getting backstage, not even wanting to get on stage because people started taking their tops off and put tans on. I was like, no, I'm not doing this. My wife slapped me and said, I didn't put up with 20 weeks of dieting for you not to get on stage.
Today.
So I got on stage. I did 3 divisions. The first time I walked out there and I loved it. I just loved the experience.
Amazing. Yeah.
I love the ability to be competitive. If I think back when I was jumped and bashed, I was I went to the Kevin Sheedy AFL football junior camp. I was headed towards draft status as well. So I was a very competitive footballer when I was younger. I played at a high level. And I feel like that took it away from me, the competitive edge, because I enjoy the competitive aspect of it all. I think bodybuilding gave me that thing of, hang on a second, I can be competitive now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not necessarily in a team environment.
Yeah.
Because I had responsibilities, kids, wife. I couldn't commit to training. I was traveling for work at the time as well, a lot. And but it gave me the ability to be competitive.
Yeah.
So the IMBA, I didn't place, didn't win anything at all. I was last.
Yeah.
I did Muscle Mania 2 weeks after that up in the Gold Coast. And I remember that Scott didn't message me back for 48 hours. And I was just the biggest diva in the world.
Question mark.
He went to the Olympia that year for Max's Muscle with Luke Skembry.
Oh, yeah.
And they did a thing, and he just obviously got caught up over there. But I was the biggest diva. I didn't know what to do. I was traveling for the show, but it actually gave me good insight as to how that feels to be, again, no, I love Scott, but to feel like I was left without any response and really struggling, which I'm blessed now because having that feeling, I'm really, really big on not making
on for your clients too. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Then I did IFBB week after that as well. So I finished last and everything, 3rd of 3, whatever else. But I felt like I really found myself in terms of the competitive side of things.
So you losing all those shows wasn't a thing for you? Oh, this isn't for me.
No, strange. I love the aspect of, I saw my body change. So I was still in the best shape I'd ever been. So I suppose I was mature enough to really take that away from it.
Okay.
And just be like, okay, cool, I achieved something. I enjoyed the process more than anything else. I felt like the discipline and the focus and on a goal. And then a few people said to me that you'll never make it as a pro, or so I feel like, people at the gym who they didn't even say pro. They said you never make it.
Yeah.
It wasn't even talk of a pro at that stage. Just you never make it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you'll always be a fat kid. And that probably drove me as well.
For sure.
Honestly, I'll show you.
Yeah.
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 But I feel like this is something we need to talk about as well, because I see it often. I will always relate back to bikini girls, but that many girls even this season doing their first show expecting a pro card. Yeah. And I feel like we're seeing it a lot more these days. It's like firstly, I feel like it's something it needs to be earned. And going into your first season, cool, there's always that genetically blessed someone. I mean, Laura, right?
Philippa.
Yeah.
Not everyone is going to be a unicorn and get a pro card. You're probably not.
But I think going in
Most
there,
likely not.
You're not going to be.
Most likely not. But going in there with the expectation as well, like winning, placing, remember how many people you're going up against.
Yeah.
If you're in it for a fucking gold medal at the end of the day,
you're not going to really last long.
no.
Yeah, and you need to manage your expectations when you go on stage.
Yeah. But that's why I love that you've literally not even touched on, you fucking lost all your first shows. That wasn't even a question for you.
It didn't bother me in the slightest. I lost the shows.
Yeah.
I felt like I love the process.
Yeah.
And so then like the meeting that was real for me. Because like, I really enjoy this process. So regardless of the result,
Yeah.
that process, I felt like made me a better person.
Yeah.
There were parts in the start which were I suppose, weren't good for like, okay, so bodybuilders typically aren't known to be the best family men, you know, have amazing family lives as they get older as well.
Yeah.
Especially the men. You know, if you look at bodybuilders over time, they tend to alienate people, push people away, become selfish, you know, narcissistic, all these types of things. So in the start, it was hard for my wife to understand because when we got together, it wasn't part of my life.
Yeah,
now,
true.
It was such a big part
She's
of my life.
grown with you. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And like credit to her for really taking that on board. It was hard at the start.
Yeah.
She would literally say, it's bodybuilding or me, you know, times from frustration and fear and whatever else, especially when I started taking gear. So I started enhancing. And that created more conversations where I never ever hit it. I was like, hey, this is what I want to try and do.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and get the right advice. And just so you know, there's obviously risk involved as well. I feel like a lot of people these days, not to touch off the fact of expectations of competing for the first time, but all that comes with that as well needs to be considered. In terms of like expectations for competing the first time, it's like I also had Perry who competed this season.
Oh, yeah.
And, excuse me, in figure. Looked great.
Amazing.
Like
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Was arguably very close to a pro card.
Agreed.
Lisa, I think on the day, it was her day.
Better.
Right. And so like afterwards, I think we had Perry was really disappointed, saying, what did I do wrong? You didn't do anything wrong, Perry. It was like this, you know, it was your first comp, really.
Yeah.
Like, you know, this is Lisa's
result.
second, third comp. Like, you know, it's so that there's levels to this.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be hard. Right. So you didn't do anything wrong. Just we need to improve, right?
Yeah.
But like regardless if you won, come second, whatever else, you would still want to improve.
Agreed. And
Everyone's
I
gotta
know
do
for myself, it's like I know how hard I work in a prep that whoever has beat me, fucking good on them.
Yeah.
Like,
they deserve to
it,
beat you.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not to sit back and sort of get upset. And simply, there's always going to be potentially someone better out there. And if that's on the day, that's on the day. You can't, if you sit there questioning, what was it? Was it my posing? Was it my hair? Was it my makeup? You can come up with 100 things.
I think that more than anything, it's gonna steal the enjoyment from the process.
So true.
Yeah.
And then, like, honestly speaking as well, it's like you look at your family and friends, you support you through the whole process, and they see you win divisions.
Yeah.
So like with Perry,
Like
it's
she won
like
two
she won
divisions.
divisions.
Yeah.
Came second
She just
and missed out a pro
didn't get a pro
card.
card, yeah.
It's like, and then you're not happy.
Yeah.
It's like
Don't let that steal the joy
No,
away
it's
from the
not.
process
So-
because you know that you've grown so much as an athlete.
100%.
Through the
And like,
process.
it's also important for you to, for your family and your friends,
Yeah.
to share that enjoyment with them.
Yeah.
Because they're like, what do you do this for?
Don't be, yeah.
Are you fucking insane?
It's a choice.
You put
Bodybuilding's a choice.
yourself through all this pain,
Yeah.
but then it's like, but then you're not even happy at the end. So it's like, why? So I think that's important to show the balance
Yeah.
and say, hey, we do this because we love it. Anyway, and I mean, for me personally, I never ever thought of a pro card. I wanted to do well,
Yeah.
for sure. Like, you know, competitively,
all
I
wanna do
wanted to do well, but I never ever measured my success based on a medal. I measured my success for a long time based on acceptance. Back to the people who said, you never make it, I'll show you, I will. And then for a long time, it was like, the funny thing about bodybuilding, it's like, I won nothing. And these people were like, you know, you never be anything. I remember then I won something, and then
still got nothing.
No, that even more hate. You know, it's like the narcissistic people of the bodybuilding world came out and were like, you know, they started attacking me because I won. You know,
yeah,
and I'm like, what the fuck?
I just did what you said. I could do.
You said like you wanted me to win.
Nothing's ever good enough.
I was supposed to win, and then you hate it more now. You received more hate.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is just wild.
Yeah.
And even when I won those comps overseas, they were WABA and NAC comps, NSC, I was Mr. Cyprus. Because we lived in Cyprus at the time.
That's cool.
Did you get a crown for that?
I got a big cup.
Oh, that's cool.
2018 Mr. Cyprus, right? And I'll for the rest of my life anyway.
Yeah, Mr. Cyprus.
But I remember I got to that comp at 9 a.m. and we didn't get on stage until 11 p.m.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so
that's
everyone
insane.
complaining, like, fucking shut up. Anyway.
How do you maintain?
Yeah.
But I think I came back to Australia and I did after that show I did the season B at the time, IFBB. I remember I was doing a prep where like no one knew who I was on Instagram. Like I was no one still. I was traveling I'd do 3 weeks away in motels, come back for a few days to the family, then back again away. It's just what I had to do for work at the time.
What were you doing for work? Coaching?
Solar panels.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we had a business, we sold solar panels. I'd go away and I'd sell and have the installation team come in.
Yeah.
So I was doing that for a long time anyway. And I came back and like I remember I came back 2 days out of the show and from work, got a tan, chilled. And Luke Timms was helping me at the time, Luke Timms. And I remember waking up like show morning, sent him photos, and he sent back a message saying, good, you deserve to win.
Okay.
Right? I was like, oh, okay. Still no belief in myself. I went to the show and Dean McKillop was competing. He was like probably the favorite. There was a few guys up there as well, but Dean McKillop was looking crazy. He would post all the time. Everyone was like, oh, you're looking wild, Dean, whatever else. I remember we were backstage at the Hotter, home of the Arts Centre in Gold Coast, and it was time to get unchanged. I was just lying outside with my wife on the ground, and we went back in to get like tan and changed. Remember I took my top off, pumped up a little bit, then walked down the hall to get my tan. I walked past like Michael Galley and a few others as well. They probably deny this, but I remember walking past them and like everyone just went silent, like who's that type of thing. And when I looked back and they were sort of looking at me and then they looked away and I thought, okay. Just like, just a feeling inside of me. I was like, okay, hang on a second. And then and they came back and with Dean, they were hitting shots in the mirror, like backstage. I came through and I hit it like a most muscular next to Dean. Oh, sorry. Yeah. I remember thinking like, for the first time, seeing myself next to someone who I respected and admired and thinking, fuck, like, the judges see that, like, almost like, it's almost like, fuck. Anyway, I went outside and competed. I won the overall that show. It was the first time I'd won something in Australia.
Oh, yeah.
And even like, I remember Tony walked off stage because I used to train at Doherty's gym, so Tony would see me. He walked off stage and said, like, it's like, mate, like, what the fuck? You could go all the way. And
it's like finally that validation.
well, yeah, it was like, that was the first time I ever thought of a pro card.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And I was like, I lost to Arthur by 1 point in a split decision in Melbourne a couple of weeks later. But regardless, it was like, again, we don't do it for validation, but everyone would lie if they said that those little things along the way, those little moments of validation, don't
make
help you keep going.
Makes such a difference.
So do.
I think more so also it's like years of being fat kid really like
It weighs on you.
Yeah, it weighs on you a lot. And it's like confidence is shit, self-esteem is shit.
Yeah.
And the way that like people internalize those and we have trauma and fears and scars. It's like, but.
You know, I think that there's so much behind, everyone's got a story at the end of the day, and you don't realize that when people are just standing up on stage when they have a physique. It's like,
yeah, it's
I need to teach you I'm not crying.
Yeah.
I'm not crying, you're crying.
It's
probably me next. And then
you're up next.
I don't cry. No, you don't. You're hard.
It's this sport is so glamorized, and I know for myself as well, I obviously got into the sport. I was 16, 17, but it brought me out of a very dark place where I felt like I had no control kind of over my life. And then I realized, and this is what I always talk to you about, it showed me a sense that no one can take my physique away from me. And I've obviously realized now, of course, my health has taken that away from me. But prior to that, it brought me into a world where I felt valued, I felt a sense of community, and I felt a sense of belonging as well. So I think a lot of people get into bodybuilding these days because they see everyone posting on social media, posting on their Instagram stories about how shredded they look. And it's like everyone has a story. Yeah. And you're doing it for the wrong reasons if you're getting up there to have some abs too.
Yeah.
It's deeper than that. There should be some meaning behind it. But like for some people, it doesn't have to be. Some people is like, hey, I want to give it a go. And the sport needs that. Like, because we need more competitors at shows. Like,
sure.
A show with 200 competitors competing, great. But I think that like when people get into it just for the pro card or because they think that's going to bring them a sense of like, some completeness. I won the pro card and yes, it was great. But it's like for me competitively, Ella was like, okay, cool. So what's next?
Yeah. Well, we wanted to touch on that as well. Do you feel like that title of getting a pro card has added more pressure to you or it has actually changed your life?
I think like for me, I felt like, okay, regardless if I was wrong or right, I felt like I earned the pro card before I won the pro card.
Well, firstly, you've only been a pro for like 12 months.
Yeah.
I feel like it's been so much longer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
12 months. Wow.
Yeah, well, but I think like, for me, I felt like I'd earned it before I actually got the pro card.
Yeah.
But it was still it was a moment. It was definitely, like we said, there was like that, my PhD in bodybuilding and coaching and all those things. I feel like it definitely gave me a sense of it was worth it. For me, time away from family, like, okay, so very, very early on, I sort of recognized that in terms of my family and bodybuilding, I had to make sacrifices.
Yeah.
Sacrifices in terms of, so let's say a general guy goes out, for weekends with the guys, might do a boys trip, might play video games, might go to the pub after work, might, whatever, yeah? I don't. I recognized early on that bodybuilding was going to take a huge chunk of my life away from me. Being in the gym, just not enjoying every meal with my family, just different sort of sacrifices.
Yeah.
So I recognized that like I couldn't then go out and let's say like do all those other things that like normal guys would do, if that makes sense. Because then it's like I would never see my family. So I made a sense of like, I suppose, a decision to really try and, if I'm going to bodybuild, cool, then I have to like make sacrifices in other areas so I can still balance the family life as well, which is sort of something that was important to me. And then like moving forward, winning the pro card, it sort of meant that those sacrifices, they meant something and they were for something, And even if I never won a pro card, I know my family would still love and like appreciate the work I did. It wouldn't change the body that I had, as you said, earned, that no one can then take away from me. I feel like when you see someone in shape or like, on a bodybuilding stage who's like, at the top of their level, it does sort of, for me anyway, doesn't make them better than anyone else, but it does let you know that like they've been able to really display or sense of like discipline, sacrifice, and hard work to achieve that physique. So I feel like it's it demands a certain level of respect without even someone talking.
Yeah.
But then again, I recognized also that like I'm a bodybuilder, but it doesn't define who I am either. I'm so much more than that as well.
Yeah.
It's just what you do.
I think that like for a long time there, I went through different stages back when I thought I won a pro card and I thought I was hard done by decisions. And again, regardless of right or wrong, just how I felt at the time. And I went through these times of thinking, I should stop, if I'm not going to get recognized for my hard work with the pro card, then was it worth it? But then I always came back to the fact that the journey is the reward. It's not the destination. So it's who we become along that journey. It's how we handle the adversity. It's how we handle challenges and setbacks. And, no matter what we go through in life, we never give up. And all of that has sort of led to, I suppose, winning the pro card, losing the pro card, getting banned for 12 months,
Yeah.
Getting bashed, getting electrocuted, all these things have led to where I am now. And the whole ethos of undefeated.
I love that. Yeah.
Which is like, we never lose, we win or we learn. I think that like ultimately there's moments in everyone's life where they can really relate to that. The fact that as long as we don't give up, then we remain undefeated.
Yeah.
And that's purely I try to make that my message now with everything that we do.
And it's exactly what you told me even when we were training the other day with the quote from Pomosi, who said like, freaking the harder your journey, the better the story at the end of the day too. Hey. And I think that's something to really take into it. Like if you know how hard you fucking worked, like you deserve to feel proud to have that title. Like I know we always joke about it, like with Ali, like how he's like carries around his IFBB title, but I'm like, carry around that pro card. Like fucking good on you.
You deserve it. Yeah.
So a topic I wanted to chat about as well, because I know we spoke about before, you mentioned genetics and you said you're not necessarily the most genetically gifted structurally. How big of a role do you think genetics play, and do you think hard work can beat genetics?
On an amateur level, yes. On a pro stage, no. So on an amateur level, you can work hard or you can win a pro card. On a pro stage, it's like most of us people work hard, but then that's where the genetics comes to the top.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's with like, your structure, your proportions, that sort of stuff. Like you cannot change that. You can improve it for sure, but you can't change it. So it's like on an amateur level, hard work can beat talent.
Yep.
But on a pro level, most of the hard workers are talented at the top.
I think that's a good answer.
Every pro works hard, so
for sure.
Yeah.
You can tell you can't change someone's bone structure, can you?
They can't. And on stage, like that's when you stand against best in the world, which I have. I've been on stage with Samson Dowder, guest posing.
Yeah.
Like
guest posing with like
Derek Lunsford, Big Ramy,
crazy,
like Sean Carita, Nick Walker, Hunter Labrada, Seabum.
Oh wow.
Martin Fitzwater. I've been on stage with these guys. I'm blessed.
Yeah.
It's the way that my journey's worked out. It's like I'm blessed to say I've stood on stage with these Mr. Olympias, these best of our generation.
Yeah.
And when you stand on stage, and I weigh more than Martin Fitzwater on stage. Yeah. But structurally, the way these guys are put together, the way they proportionally look on stage, it's like, you're not beating that, no matter how much. So I'm at a stage now where it's like, I'm not delusional in the fact that like, I'm going to go to Olympia.
Yeah.
Would I love to? Of course I would.
Yeah,
like
of course.
it's the pinnacle.
Yeah.
But I'm not delusional in the fact that like I'm going to make it. Yeah.
Yep.
My competing now in the future will be to, one, inspire people, hopefully, who come across a similar journey as me or can relate in some way. Undefeated, never give up, can achieve, and then chase an experience with my family, really.
Yeah.
So it's like my next pro show, I'd like to do FIBA next year. Why? I haven't been to FIBA. It's the biggest expo in the world.
True.
I've never been to Germany.
Make it an experience.
There. Just chase experience.
I love that.
Yeah, that's a good.
I'm mature enough now where like, I can handle a prep.
Yeah.
I can travel with my family. And like, even actually like in preps previously, it's like, it's funny. I have some competitors as well. They, 2 weeks out from their first ever state level qualifier. I'm like, I've taken 3 weeks off work. Really?
Yeah.
Like, what, you allergic to money? Like, are you rich?
But people do that when they start. They're like, I've taken the week off, and I'm like, cool. Yeah, I'm still doing check-ins.
I'm like, wow.
I'm posing till show day.
Yeah, Mike, I can't move at all. The peak week. I'm like, you can move, man. You can live. Like 2 days out from Prague, I did 25,000 steps with my wife seeing Prague City. But it's like, if I think about it, how much of a freaking narcissist would I be if I took my wife to Prague and didn't show her Prague?
And you're in Prague in your hotel room.
What, T, you want to see the city? How dare you? Don't you know I'm competing? Anyway, it's like, but I did that, like, and still didn't affect my look at all.
Yeah.
Okay? If anything, probably improved it because I felt good, like taking her out and showing her something.
It's a mental thing too.
100%.
Have you always been like that, just with preps?
No.
I feel like balance has to be.
I've gone through stages where it's like, I can't do this because it's going to fucking how I look. And like, every single detail has to be on. It's not that I miss now when I do things like that. It's like, I didn't miss a meal and I just prepared.
Yeah, you do what you need to do.
Do what I need to do.
But don't be,
But I didn't miss out.
Yeah.
I didn't make team miss out.
Yeah.
And it's like that, when we went to Disneyland with my kids, I did the Cali Pro. I did New York, Cali, and then Toronto. And it's like, we're in California. The kids want to go to like Universal Studios, Disneyland. I'm like, what? I'm not going to take them.
True.
So it's like, I was carving up on 10,000 calories. I had my backpack with me. We went to Universal Studios. And it's like, I just stopped when I needed to and just ate and just kept walking. Do you know what I mean? And the kids saw Universal Studios. We had a great time.
Yeah.
I did probably 30,000 steps, but it's like, as if I'm not going to take them.
Yeah,
Agreed.
of course.
In the show. So I feel like people like get inside their own heads thinking, overthinking more than anything else. And it's like, the better you can manage your stress and emotions in your peak week, the better you look, regardless of the physical output that you have.
Agreed.
The more OCD as well about it you are, the worse you
Your
are.
cortisol's high.
And you don't even
aldosterone, everything raises. It's like
it's a subconscious
it's
thing
almost
too.
impossible for your body to actually relax and look good at that stage.
Yeah.
So I think that like, rolling with the punches and like, I always say like, just be a good person.
Yeah.
Like, it's as simplistic as that sounds, but it's like the world doesn't revolve around you.
It comes back to bodybuilding's being a choice.
Even though you're competing, it's a choice.
Yeah.
You're here because like you're blessed to be here.
Yeah.
To live in a world, to earn enough money, to have access to things you have to compete on stage. You're blessed. So it's like, if you're so uptight about like, I know you're all in. I know this is serious for you as well. I know what all in looks like. I'm fucking all in. Like I'm Mr. All In.
Yeah.
In 10 years, I can honestly say I've never missed a meal.
Yeah.
Like never missed a training session. So I know what all in is as well, but you can still be all in and still, not alienate and push the people that are close to you away from you. Because I say to every one of my clients, I'm like, at the end of the day, when you get on stage, so whether you get on stage or not, no one cares.
100%.
So true.
You have this in your mind that like, it's going to mean something. Everyone's going to think less of you or more of you. It's like, no one cares.
Yeah.
No one will even notice you didn't compete.
Yeah.
You won't probably get a message at all, apart from your family who know, and like they love you anyway, regardless. So it's like, when all this is said and done, I know you're all in now. I know this means everything to you now, but in a couple of years' time, when like maybe it doesn't mean as much, you still want to have your family and friends there. So it's like,
For sure.
if you push them away now, you're not going to have them or bodybuilding in a couple of years' time potentially.
Yeah.
So it's like you've got to, you realize that the world doesn't revolve around you. Don't be a diva.
You're more than just a bodybuilder too.
Such a good message.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with obviously making sacrifices and you becoming, yes, an IFBB Pro, how have you made sacrifices when it comes to business in regards to obviously building the gyms you have? Like, have you had to prep whilst building a business up to the standard that it is today?
Yes, I've always prepped while essentially building. So even with one gym, like I did my essentially pro card prep while building the gym. And before that, I prepped all the way up while working. And then COVID forced me into coaching.
Oh.
Before I
Were you
before
PTing?
COVID, I was never PT. I was I've had my qualifications just out of interest for me to understand how my body works.
Yeah.
I studied nutrition and I studied all sorts of stuff just to understand how my body works. But I never did that as a full-time job. When I got results, naturally people came to me and said, oh, hey, can you help me? And at the start, I did it all for free. All for free. Help people compete, help people like just, lose weight, get in shape, all that sort of stuff. And I did it all for free based on the fact that, first of all, I didn't feel like I had achieved enough to charge for it.
Okay.
I feel like I needed more experience. The fact that I could just get in shape didn't mean that I could help others get in shape.
Yeah.
So I felt like I wanted to really, have some experience and runs on the board, do my apprenticeship, if that makes sense. And then I started obviously, then it started taking up more of my time. The more people I started to help. So I'm like, hang on a second. Number one, like I'm interested in it. I love making a positive impact on people's lives. Number two, like I know I'm an intelligent guy without being arrogant or it's like my understanding of concepts, like I get things.
Yeah.
Right. So it's cool. So it's like with the body, it's like cool. I get how nutrition works. I get how macros work. I get, I can recognize the patterns in things.
Yeah.
And that's a lot to do with bodybuilding's patterns of whatever else. So I was like, cool. So I can help people. So I want to start to charge some people, it's like $29 a week. Yeah. back in the day.
It's like a challenge.
Right? Now it's just the new admin fee.
Plus tax.
But it's like, but like in my mind, I was like, that's like my experience.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't a pro. I hadn't won a competition. So I started and I brought some people on. And then with COVID, obviously we the sales, I had a sales it's gone for me. What's gone for me? But like a sales training role at the time where I was training for a sales organization, and that office shut down, and it was online stuff for me, but I didn't really enjoy the online side of that. So I just basically went all into like helping more people. My current clients, I put my price up like $20 a week. Hey guys, you know, I'm going to be doing this full time now. Everyone's like, yep, totally cool. So whatever. And then that forced me into coaching. And then when COVID happened, as well as that, we built the gym. Okay. So we got stuck in Victoria, so we moved in with my in-laws, and we had a 3-car garage. And because we didn't know how long we were going to be in COVID for, I suppose, people were saying it's going to be a long time. So we all bunkered together, and it was kind of cool actually, to be honest, because the kids were there, like we'd all.
Yeah.
That's cool.
At times I missed that, do you know what I mean? Because it was so simple. It was like just chill. These days it was so go. You know, but we put the gym in. So I spent like, I think I dropped like $100,000, right? Like, and we put, we turned this 3-car garage. I put mirrors. I put like a Dorian Yates mural on the wall. I created this space where it's like from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m., which is the curfew in Victoria. You could book the space out for an hour at a time to 4 people. So people would come with like, I don't know if it's illegal or not. I give them courier signs on their door for the car. So a magnet, because couriers could drive around. So everyone had couriers, and then I had the toilet
cops are
inside.
listening to this.
This is a joke.
I put a hole in the wall. I broke the toilet. So people come with like trades vests. I'm like, yeah, they're here fixing the toilet or whatever else. To be honest, no cops even came. Like no one, but it was just to be safe.
That's smart.
But from 5 till 9, the gym was booked out because people really looked forward to that, like, you know, because it felt like a gym. Again, for mental health. Like it was, and I built a little community. And obviously we started, like, I remember I bought my first Cybex hack squat. And I was like, you know, the proudest moment. Like, yeah, it's brand new. It's like
now I have 4 of them.
And but it's like that equipment literally started one gym. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
So we took from that, we put it into one gym. We opened up with like 13 pieces, like nothing. And I remember back then as well, in terms of like building community and gym aspect and whatever else, when I had one gym, we had 13 pieces on the floor. It was nothing there.
Wow.
We were living upstairs because we put everything into taking over the space and the fit out. And we had no equipment at all, still during COVID. I had people showing up, paying me $1,000 for a year's membership. Like I had nothing in the gym. I'm like, cool. So like these people, like they were like, oh, we follow your journey online for years. Like, you know, I've got a huge following, but like I really felt like it was okay. I'm like,
I think you've got a very loyal following. Yeah.
And people like, you know, really resonated with my journey and message. And so then I was like, okay, cool. So I can actually create something here. If people are willing to like, you know, just almost blindly give me money, like, you know, like no gym here at all. Yeah. It's empty. So that was sort of gave me the confidence then to, I suppose, make more sacrifices and like, you know, and push away the short-term cash of going back to sales training because I could make money fairly quickly doing that with obviously more hustling, coaching, building, you know, the team up, building community up, building the gym up and sort of, But then it also enabled me to create a lifestyle around bodybuilding essentially. So it's like I could now sort of, I was doing what I said, even though it was hard, it's like the passion was there, purpose was there. So it was like, even though 4 hours sleep, it didn't bother me because like I'm doing something I love and we're building something for the future.
That's why I think it's important to have a why behind why you do something. Yeah. Makes it that much easier to get up in the morning. Yeah. Yeah.
And more than just like wanting to look good, which is a part of it. Yeah. You know, I enjoy being big. Yeah. Like, you know, I love, even if I stopped bodybuilding competitively, I still want to be, you know, large and everything. I like that. I like feeling like that. So there's nothing wrong with that either. No. If that's how you want to look. Nothing wrong with not wanting to look like that. You know, people should
for sure.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
But I enjoy that. But I really enjoy the aspect of positively impacting people's lives. Yeah. Whether it's through coaching, through helping them, you know, make the the nutritional training, then lifestyle changes, then also through the gym aspect, seeing, and obviously you guys are undefeated now. It's like when you see the community start to build and people really get energy from coming there, because I know that outside of the gym space, life can beat us up. Relationship stress, work stress, financial stress, all this stress, and then like we can feel beat up, and there's days we don't feel like doing anything. We lose motivation. It's temporary. Become having a safe space, having a place like Undefeated to come to and to really feel a part of something, a community.
Yeah, it honestly it does. Like last year, I took 6 months off the gym completely, and it wasn't until you guys opened up Undefeated again that I finally felt that I had that sense of purpose back. So I went to regular gyms during that time, and it felt like nothing what you have created, and I felt the same when I initially started going to one gym too, and up until you guys left. Like the community that you built, it's special, but I think it shows with your passion and the motivation behind it as well. When you see the owner and you see like him and his wife and his kids and stuff there, you can see that people fucking care.
We went to a run club because we like the community. I drive a long way to come to Undefeated.
I don't wake up at 5, guys.
We went on a run club. That explains. Yeah, the
Jordy,
community that
Jordy walked.
Yeah, we walked too.
That's right.
But no, you've done an
really
awesome job at that. So with where you're at right now, I think an important thing to talk about is, which I wanted to bring up, PD usage. Do you feel like with where you're kind of at, or people that are along their journey, is the risk almost worth the reward?
Number one is everyone who's watching who thinks that PEDs won't affect you long term, kidding yourself. I think that like whether you choose to enhance, not enhance, that's a personal choice you can make for yourself. I enhance. I'm not against enhancing. I have clients come to me wanting to enhance. I've done my best to really educate myself on, safer use models, which have become more popular lately as well, which is great. Risk reward analysis, what PEDs actually do. The scary thing is, it's like I legitimately guarantee if you walk into a room with like, let's say, 20 guys, I'll just use guys as an example, women could be the same, and ask them like, okay, so what does a steroid do? Like they wouldn't be able to answer you.
Yeah.
They have no idea what, injecting more testosterone into their body's going to enable the body to do.
Yeah.
So they take things because they think that like that's what they should do, what their mates are doing, it's popular, et cetera, et cetera. So I think the number one is to understand that like the PEDs that you take, these compounds, that you exogenously injecting or use, put into the body, are going to have an impact on your mental health aspect, the way you assimilate things, process things, and then obviously there's more longer term considerations in terms of like heart health, calcium scores, all this sort of stuff that you should try and track and monitor regularly as much as possible. So it's like I think that like PEDs, there's probably no, if you want to do well on an IFBB stage, as an example, unless you're genetically blessed, you're going to have to enhance to some degree. But there are definitely ways you can do that with a lower risk approach, and trying to, I suppose, avoid some of the excessive doses and usages. Like if you're an amateur athlete, like your first comp, I don't think, and as cliche as it might sound, you need to be running Mr. Olympia cycles.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But people do.
Yeah.
And there's I think that like I heard someone at New South Wales that this girl competed, and one of my clients came up to me and said, "Oh, this girl was competing, and this guy was a coach. I won't say who, and he had her on XYZ and blah blah blah. Like it's so responsible." I'm like, yeah, but it's kind of irresponsible for her too.
For sure.
There's enough information out there now.
She can do a research.
With there's enough information out there now with safer use models and what is considered excessive and not excessive to ask some more questions. And if you don't feel like you get the answer, it's like then you can make a decision to is that the right decision for you to take that much or that compound or not? So I think there's a lot of responsibility on the coaches who are prescribing this stuff, but that doesn't take away from your own responsibility to be informed about what you're taking and why you're taking it.
Yeah. Do you think there's a component where like body dysmorphia kind of comes into play with the PED usage though? Like,
100%, I think that so it's like thinking that more is more, number one.
Yeah.
And again, I talked before about all in.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, Mike, I'm all in. Hey, Tabby, hey, Taylor, I'm all in, yeah? I want to go all the way with this. I want to be Miss Olympia, yeah, on bikini stage. That's my goal. I want to be Mr. Olympia, Mike. I want to be a classic pro. The number one message I get these days. I want to be a classic pro. Cool.
The subject for the inquiry.
That doesn't mean take more
In the
PEDs.
first sentence, I want to be a classic pro. I want to take it all the way. I get it, yeah? But it's like, understand that at some point in life, you might not want to.
Yeah, so
How
true.
you feel now.
Yeah.
But at some point in my life, you know, health might take away from you. Or, you know, your family, or you just might get sick of it.
Yeah.
Right? So we can enhance for sure. And we can, you know, we can push boundaries. Okay, I've done it. Now I've tried things. You know, I've literally been on. I was sat at the Mazzies in Essendon.
Yeah.
Tomatoes.
Yes.
Mazzies.
That's the spot.
And I was post-show 2017, and I was eating a burger and a shake, and that prep I'd used DNP, and I was that sick
That's
that I was sitting there trying to eat this burger and drink this shake with my wife and my brother-in-law's girlfriend. I literally felt my heart stop,
Oh, don't.
right? And I was like, I'm going to die here at Damazi's. I'm like, I reached over to kiss my wife as I'm going to the bathroom because I didn't want to die in front of her.
Right.
Like, I went to and I collapsed on the bathroom floor under it, and that's come get me out. And it was like this big thing. Anyway.
that's
And it's like, I did it back then. Like, I took it wanting to, like, this is going to be the secret. Yeah. This is what's going to make me win. This is what I need to do. This person is telling me to take this coach. So I just did it. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And it was like, and it was 300 milligrams of DMP morning and night.
shit.
There were stages where like it was just DNP is literally, if you're not educated on what it is, it's literally using dynamite.
It burns you from the inside.
Yeah, it burns your insides. So it's like, and again, the scary thing is that's not the worst thing I've ever heard someone take or do in this world. So I think my message with PEDs is, hey, if you want to enhance, cool, like you can enhance, that's fine. You should definitely try to research as much as you can what it is you're taking, why you're taking it, and what the possible risks are long term. Don't be naive to the fact that you think that you're going to be immune to, like, you know, the health risks associated with even a safer use approach. And also understand that like with your family, they're not going to get it. They're not going to understand why, right? Don't expect them to. Don't hide it. Like if you're in a relationship with your parents or your partner and you have to hide the fact that you're using PEDs, like that's really sad.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And again, like long term, you should have a serious consider about, like, you know, like it's never going to end well.
No.
It's never going to end well, is my point. And I think that also in a situation, you have to understand that you are going to, like your perception of reality is going to be warped on PEDs. Like you're not going to see yourself or others in the same way. You're going to respond to situations differently. Your mood's going to be heightened, you know, up and down both ways. So I think that, like, you know, in terms of like it's proven the effect on like neurotransmitters, you know, endorphins.
100%. But that's why as well people get like post-show blues too, because you're coming off the drugs too, and it's fucking hard to
Estrogen
deal
spikes,
with.
you're crying every day.
Yeah, hormonals.
Yes.
Women deal with it more than men.
Yeah.
The men still go through it. And we use higher amounts as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
So in some cases, in some women use higher amounts, which is a different discussion. But anyway, I think that less is more, you know, and just approach things fully understanding that, like, it's going to have an impact. More than just the physical changes to your appearance.
Yeah, it's a big impact.
And because at the moment you're in a health phase now,
I'm sort of cruising. So like I'm not getting enough sleep to really grow or prep. So like one thing that's held me back, I think, in my career, if I was to look in and say, in my career, could I have been better? Like I could not have followed a diet better. I could have trained any harder. One thing I haven't done is rest as much. Due to a number of reasons. I've got responsibilities. I've got kids. I've always felt a sense of, there's been periods of my wife's and my T's in my life where we've had to provide for, you know, other family members as well. And so I've taken a lot of responsibility on and just had to, I've always had that work harder mentality. So I don't think I've slept enough. Right now, I recognize I'm not sleeping enough with the gym, with all the things that are going on. So I'm being just kind to myself. First time in my life I haven't had a coach since I started bodybuilding.
Yep.
And sort of like obviously just self-managing, and I'm really cruising at this stage. I did a health phase, everything looked good. I'm sitting about 132, 133 kgs.
Yep.
And just sort of maintaining through. So maintenance for me, looks somewhere along the lines of 1,000 milligrams a week of again, a safer use, I suppose.
Yeah.
Approach using compounds that have like the most research data with human use, clinically backed, clinical studies. So I'm just cruising at the moment.
Yep. And future plans for competing? What are you thinking?
So future plans for me, once the gym is fully open, so over the next 2-3 weeks, we'll get the gym fully opened. I want to do FIBO next year. So I'll do a growth phase into a prep. So one thing I've noticed in the past is that like I only need really 8 weeks to get in shape.
Yeah.
In the past, I've always let myself 18 weeks because I think I'm fat.
Yeah.
I've been 140 kilos. Like you think, I'm out of shape. It's like I diet for 2 weeks. It's like, oh, fuck.
What weight do you compete at?
Last time was 119.5. And I think I over dieted in the face. I could have weighed more, but I had some issues with I went to India for some guest posing.
Belly belly.
Got belly belly. Ended up with a floating hernia.
Did you have that removed?
It's not still there. So I just take a PPI every day.
Yeah.
Protein pump inhibitor. I try and reduce the acid. And so it's an ongoing management thing. But it flared up my IBS. And so that's more